5-0. So in his July 19th interview with Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday, President Trump said, quoting him, "We're signing a health care plan within 2 weeks, a full and complete health care plan," leading us to believe that he would be trying to completely replace Obamacare. Well, it is Thursday, August 6th. I do not see a plan. Healthcare expert Seth Denson is on the LaMarca Law Group Newsmakers line. Seth, welcome back. Good morning.
Jeff, good morning, buddy. Always good to be with you.
So this replacing Obamacare thing, not as easy as we would probably think, right?
Yeah, I got a feel for the president's staff when he was in that interview with Chris Wallace and made that statement. I just got a feeling they all looked around at each other and went, "Oh, crap. What do we do now?" Yeah, this is difficult, and it's difficult in two ways. Certainly the president could release a plan, and I think that my hope was that he just misspoke, but that we would actually see a written plan from him in the coming 2 weeks, recognizing that Nancy Pelosi was never going to allow any plan to hit the floor, so it's not like we would see something pass in the next 2 weeks and he could sign it. Yeah. That said, I was hoping that just the slip wasn't that it would be signed, rather that it would be released, and unfortunately we still haven't seen that, but certainly legislating is hard, leading is hard, and apparently coming up with a health plan, although I don't understand why it's been so difficult for the Republicans, it is apparently very hard.
Well, and let me try to answer that, Seth, and you can definitely disagree with me, but no matter what plan they come up with, it's always fraught with political danger. And I say that to you because here in Iowa, we've got competitive congressional races again, and a competitive race for U.S. Senate, and pre-existing conditions comes up all the time. That has become a club that the politicians pound each other with every single time. So releasing a plan can be fraught with political danger, can it?
It certainly can, but I will argue that it is already wrought with political danger because the Trump administration is constantly going after the Affordable Care Act. As a matter of fact, they're already getting ready to argue in front of the Supreme Court right around the time of the election to have it thrown out. And so I'm already seeing, if you'll hearken back to the old ads during the Bush administration where we were throwing grandma off the cliff, Democrats are already gearing up for this fight. They won in 2018 on it, and they're gearing up to do it again. And so this is one of those things where the president needs to get on the offensive and release a plan because he's already in a political darnation for not. So at least say, hey, we're going to protect pre-existing conditions. Here's how we're going to do it. It's in our plan. We're going to lower the cost of health care, which in turn will lower cost of health insurance. It's in our plan. Release a plan to say, hey, here's what we're going to do, knowing very well it will never pass, nor does it have to. Politics at this point is about optics, and the Democrats are going to win that optics game unless the president releases a plan.
Seth is the author of a book called The Cure, a blueprint for solving America's healthcare crisis. So, Seth, you pick up your phone tomorrow, and it's President Trump, and he says, "Seth, you're the man. You got to write a healthcare plan. It's got to be the biggest, most fabulous. Believe me, it'll be the biggest, most fabulous, wonderful healthcare plan ever." So what are some of the key elements, Seth, of that plan?
Likely he would tweet me, not call me, but nonetheless,
True.
It would certainly be, first and foremost, we have to put the consumer back in the driver's seat of healthcare. We do not want to get between people and their doctor. We need to protect pre-existing conditions, but we need to do it in a way that allows the consumer, the American consumer, who is the greatest driver of our economic system, the power. How do you do that? Full and complete transparency. All hospitals, doctors, providers, medical, pharmaceutical companies, everybody must release their pricing structures. That's the only way this works. Second, insurance companies, they cannot have insurance networks anymore. They provide zero value except to provide ambiguity in the system so that nobody knows the real price of anything. You do that, you protect pre-existing conditions, you allow for competition in the marketplace to allow insurance companies to sell across state lines. There are numerous things we can do that arguably are not as difficult, but we have to get to doing them.
And isn't there a second step, Seth? I agree with you on transparency, so you know what the true cost of things are. And then the next thing is to get cash into the consumer's hand so they can start making decisions, and providers have to compete for them. Isn't that a part of this?
I don't know that you have to give them cash. You have to give them access to a competitive market. For example, I'll give you a perfect example of this. I myself had to go in for a chest x-ray just about a week ago. Now, that chest x-ray, or a little over a week ago. Anyway, to use my insurance, it was $127. I asked for the cash price. It was $55. It was half the price. Just when I say I'm not using my insurance, I want to pay you cash. And that is riddled across our healthcare system. Americans today can get healthcare for a fraction of the cost if they just understood the pricing methodology and were able to shop for it like they do everything else on Amazon.
So, Seth, why do they? How are they able to charge the insurance companies more? Is it just the deep pockets philosophy?
Insurance companies are finance companies. This is the sad part of what happened as a result of the Affordable Care Act. United Health Group, by the way, reported a $6 billion profit last quarter. Their stock price is over 1,000% higher than it was the day the Affordable Care Act was passed. That's because overnight, insurance companies became Amex, Visa, and MasterCard. The more you actually spend on claims, the more they can charge you in premiums. And don't think for a second there's not kickbacks in that, too.
Well, you can see why this is one of the guys that have become my go-to on healthcare issues. Seth Denson is his name. The book is called The Cure, A Blueprint for Solving America's Healthcare Crisis. Seth, thanks very much for joining me today.